Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we're going to be adding sand to an already fish-filled aquarium. I'm Pop. It's a beautiful day out today, especially for December, but we're going to be working inside on the fish tanks. I'm Pop. But we are going to be working with some sand. We got to make a new beach. I was just out here getting the sand ready that we're going to be using today. It is a process getting this sand clean. I just use a multi-purpose sand. It's a pretty heavy sand, so it sinks to the bottom nicely and doesn't get stirred up easily. But whenever you get it in a bag from a box store, it is dirty, so you have to really rinse this out. Who's making that noise out there? Sounds like a goose. Not one of my geese. Might be a chicken. Oh, it sounds like we have a new egg song on the homestead. We have some new chickens up there just starting to lay eggs and coming into their singing voice. Huh, Pop. Puppy. This is what we're looking for, nice clear water in there. We don't want it all cloudy, so whenever we put it in the fish tank, it's not going to cloud up the water as much. You can see that water in there is nice and clear. Puppy. And this is the tank we're going to be working on. You can see we have a bare bottom tank here, and I want to fill that up with sand, at least about 2 inches of sand. That's going to give me a really nice substrate for this tank, and that's going to really help with the water quality. Having a bare bottom tank, you get a lot of fish poop and detritus on the bottom, some uneaten food. It can be unsightly, but it also can be dangerous for the fish because it keeps the ammonia in the water column whenever it starts breaking down. Now over here on the turtle tank, you can see we have a nice thick layer of sand as a substrate, and you can really see how that's trapping a lot of the detritus underneath the sand. And that's called the browning effect. It'll actually pull all the detritus past the oxygenated layer in the substrate, so whenever it decomposes, it doesn't release the ammonia up into the water column. It actually holds it in the substrate where plants that are planted into the substrate can feed on it from their roots. But the turtles are actually pretty rough on things, so I don't have any of those plants in there. I just have floating plants for them. And that actually carries the same with these two fish, Balthazar and Seve. Seve is a gold severum and Balthazar is a black tiger Oscar. We also have a couple silver dollars in here getting bigger. Huh, bud. But today we're going to be working on this community tank, and we actually had to set this tank up in a hurry whenever the shark tank upstairs sprung a leak. And since then, I actually moved the goldfish and the 2 tetras and the gourami that we rescued over into here. And my plan is to make this a full community tank. The goldfish is actually going to go to the outdoor pond, but it's a little bit too cold to put them out there right now. So the iridescent shark is going to be the centerpiece of this tank, but I also want to have a bunch of other things in here too. I think he's been loving this new tank. Huh, bud? You got a lot more space to swim around. But I want to add more fish in here, and to stabilize this tank, a thicker substrate is going to do really well. I am going to be pulling most of this decor out of here. I don't really want this fake decor in there, and then I'm going to sweep out some of that detritus, do a little bit of a water change. And that's really to make some room in the tank for the volume of the sand we're going to put in. I've got too many glares in here. And I'm really going to try and do this without spooking the iridescent shark too much. He does spook easily, but I'm going to try and go slow so he doesn't bang into something and hurt himself. And that's not always the easiest task. Now, before we start the process of bringing in the clean sand, we're going to want to shut off the filter. We want to stop the water from moving as much because we don't want that sand getting stirred up. We want it to settle to the bottom as quickly as possible. After we get all the sand in there and everything where it needs to be, we can turn the filter back on. I'll have to take this lid off here and have full access to get in there. And then I'm going to be using this Tupperware container to scoop the clean sand out of the bucket and put it into the tank. Hump up. I'm just going to try and get a full scoop here, bring it into the water really slowly, and try not to scare the fish. Hump up. Alright, it is the next day and the tank cleared up beautifully. You're going to notice some debris floating around in there, but that's always going to happen when you have floating plants. I think the fish are loving it in here, and you can see the pleco down here sucking on the wood. Hey buddy. We have a leopard pleco in here. We also have this big old goldfish that will be moving out to the large pond outside once it starts to warm up a little bit. But I am going to be keeping the tetras in here, the glowfish, and the iridescent shark. Bud, you just like looking at yourself. But I think the tank looks better with sand in the bottom, and it's also going to be a healthier, more stable tank as well. I did use the one bag of sand that we had cleaned out. That was half of a cubic foot, and I think that filled up this 55-gallon tank pretty well. I took out the fake decorations that I added in there in the beginning just to have some structure, but I left the natural wood and stone in there that I already had. I have the one fake plant over here, and that's pretty much just to block the view of the filter and the heaters. This tank is actually in process right now. I want to make it a pretty full community tank. And I definitely want to add some more real plants. So we can go deeper here with the sand, and I probably will as the scape comes together. Now, I don't know exactly what aquascape I want to go with just yet, but I did want to have some cool things in there to look at, and a really nice viewer sent in some natural finds on the beach. We have a beautiful sea star here. We have another shell over here with a beautiful spiral. And then this neat looking structure, I'm not even sure what that is, but it has some beautiful color on it. So I think with the new additions, this tank is looking a lot better. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and drop some names of some fish that you think we should be adding to the community tank. We have about a 5-inch leopard pleco over here sucking on a rock, 2 black skirt tetras, an orange glowfish, a white skirt tetra, and this pink one might be a glow tetra. They're all going to be staying in here. The goldfish is actually the one that's going to be moving out. Hump up. So that worked out, just using the Tupperware dish, dropping it into the water really slow, and then getting close to the bottom before starting to dump it out. That was the first time I started a bare bottom tank and then added the sand. I usually just add extra sand whenever it needs it. It's a little harder to see over here in the turtle tank, but they have much thicker sand over here, and sometimes they dig up an area and I have to come in and re-add sand. They actually did it to this side over here. They really dug down this corner and started exposing some of the soil I have in there. And I added a little bit of soil under this sand because I wanted to grow some plants for the turtles, just some natural scape in here. But it's really hard to have real plants and turtles. Just like the gold severum and the black tiger oscar up here, they can be really hard on natural plants. They like to go around and rescape your tank. You can't see Balthazar right now, but Seve's sitting under the little light. I put the little light up on top here because I had to steal the 4-foot light and put it down here while I was working on this tank. Now that this tank is up and running, I'm going to be doing some more work on it. I'm going to have to get another one of these 4-foot lights. And then the double stacked big aquarium rack will be all lit up. Now before I put the sand in there, I shut the filter off so it wasn't sucking up any of the sand particles before they settled out. And while I had that shut off, I decided to go ahead and clean the filter pads. I didn't clean anything else in the tank. You never want to do a full 100% cleaning on a tank. That can really take away a lot of the beneficial bacteria, and that can really hurt your fish. The beneficial bacteria help balance your tank and keep all the ammonia and nitrates in check. So you never want to clean them out completely and have your tank have to reset. So it's actually good to split the cleaning up and never do everything all at once unless you have a problem, or it's going to give you a problem. But we got the new sand in the tank, and I think it's a great upgrade here to the fish room. That's going to be all for this one. If you want to keep following along with everything here at Whitt Acres, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that like button before you leave, and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching. Puppy, you're missing the outro, taking a nap over here.